bring mistakes.
When do you worry?
Paper.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Paper.
And what I'm going to do, I thought, these are just the two things that came into my mind. The first is when I spent a summer in Gloucester, Massachusetts, fishing for bluefin tuna. I wrote a song called Heavenly Tuna, and I won $60 and a lobster dinner for two at a contest. But it was too long because it has a lot of technical things about tuna fishing. But I decided to do a shortened version of it as a little story poem. So tonight's more of a story night for me, Nadia, than it is,
That's okay.
the others. So. As the sun is rising on the eastern horizon, I feel the ocean in my soul. I've got my engine revved and I'm on my way because I'm going to catch a bluefin tuna today. The sun shining down, the sea's like a mirror. With every chum I chop, I can feel the tuna near. Then up on the bow, filled with superhuman strength somehow, because I know the tuna is here. Yard by yard, foot by foot, wish I could pull that tuna faster. Foot by foot, inch by inch, I'm gonna show that tuna who's the master. Then the harpoon is raised, thrust and jab, feel it sinking deep within. One last fight, then tie that tail tight, and then the dancing can begin. Yeah, just bleed the gills and offer up the thrills, and then the dancing can begin. Glory to God! Heavenly tuna, sing hosannas evermore. The sun's going down, but I'm heading back to Gloucester town. I'm gonna show my tuna all around. Yeah, the sun's beating down, but I'm going back to Gloucester town. I'm gonna show my tuna all around. And then this next is not even a poem, it's just pure story, because that reminded me of how sometimes you just get this good feeling after you go through a tough fight, right? Or a confusing time, a funky day, So it reminded me of the last time that I went back to visit Glen Burnie when I used to fly back and everything. And I called a friend of mine, Dan Pepperman, and he said, "Oh wow, you're back, We're having a big banquet tonight, and my band's going to perform, but everybody'd be happy to see you, and maybe you will perform half of it, and then you perform." So I said, okay, I would be happy to do that. And because the founder of the church, he had died, or everybody thought he died, but then suddenly he was back. And there was a controversy over whether or not he had actually just gone on a retreat somewhere, or he had actually died and resurrected. And so in either case, everybody was happy to come to the banquet to find out. So they were in the town north of Glen Burnie where I lived, about 2 miles up, a mile and a half up. They were at the Community Arts Center practicing, and then the banquet was going to be at the Fontainebleau in Glen Burnie. So I went up to the practice and everything, and they had the band things to do, and I thought, well, I don't really need to do this, so I'm just going to walk on back down because I got plenty of time. And my apartment is like near where the Fontainebleau is. So I going through, but it's from where that town is to where my town is, there's a forest in between. And I'm walking through and I come upon an abandoned playground that had been resettled by hobos. And I had just read that book by the guy who used to do the Microsoft commercial, I can't remember his name, John something or other, where he wrote a book about how, do you know the book, the guy I'm talking about? How the hobos were plotting to take over the world. And so I was a little bit nervous walking through. You know, they had those big metal things that you push around and people jump on, you know, the kids that they used to have in the older playgrounds. And swings, and they're all full of homeless people and hobos, and they had fires there, and they were passing around bottles of wine. And then there were these groups of people who were huddled together talking, and it really did look like they were plotting the overtake of the world. So I kind of made my way through without saying anything. And they just would look up at me like, what's this guy doing here and everything. And I got through, and I'm headed back through, and there's only a little more woods to go. And then this guy comes out. He must have been in the hobo camp, I don't know, but I used to know him. His name was Tom. So he comes up, and we say hi, and he says, do you have a joint? I said, no, I don't. I checked my pockets, and all I had was old American Spirit tobacco in my pockets. So I said, but I think, you know, I haven't been here for a while, but I think I may have a stash down there in my basement. So we'll head down there. So we come through out of the woods, and we come to this thing, and the highway's down below. But there's a ledge, a retaining wall with a ledge with a 20-foot drop. I said, I don't think I'm up to jumping that. He goes, oh, it's no problem. And he just jumps off, does a roll, gets up. See, no problem. No problem for you, but it's a problem for me. So I look over a little ways, and there is a slope there, and there's a fence, and there's a house in there with a yard and stuff. And I go, pretty big place, and I go, I think I can just get through this fence and go over there, and I'll meet you down there. So I head through, and I'm walking through the thing, and so all of a sudden here's these two big burly guys, like security guards or something. And they say, well, how did you get out here? What are you doing? Get back inside. So I thought, what is this? And they take me inside, and it's actually a mental facility that's like really run really militaristically, like, you know. Maybe it was an offshoot of the thing that your friends, your cousin or whoever went to down in Watsonville. But, you know, the guy came out who was in charge of it, and you just got vibes like this guy is a sadistic psychopath. So play it cool. So they put me in a room, not a private room, like a game room type where all these people on meds were playing cards and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, what did I get myself into? You know? And I look up at the window, and there in the back window, there's Tom, you know, peeking up and waving through and pointing over, you know, a certain direction. So I go over there, and he pulls open the door and says, get out of here, man. You were crazy to come in here. You don't know this place. You know? So we go running along, and then there's just a little row of those tall, spindly kind of evergreen trees, and out from behind, couple of them steps this huge guy. He looked like he had pure blonde hair, like he was a Swede or a German, but he was as big as a sumo wrestler. And he just comes out and he goes, where are you going, ladies? And we think maybe the two of us together, you know, like, let's rush him, right? But he just puts out his arms and grabs us and plop down in the middle of a big mud puddle, you know? And he goes, there you go, ladies. And, and you know, we squirm out and we get up. And he starts laughing and just rolling around and going, that felt so good. That felt so good, as he's sloshing around. And we just took off, got down the hill, and so we made it out of there and went back to my apartment, all covered with mud and everything, the nice clothes that I had put on to go and perform. So anyway, took him back to the basement. We smoked joint. I took a nice hot shower, came out. He took a nice hot shower. We're sitting there, and then I go, oh my God, I'm late for my performance. Oh man, so we smoke another joint. And then we're sitting there, and I look at my watch, and I go, oh wait, Dan, I was supposed to be there at 6, but actually Dan's performing at 6. And so I'm not late. I have time to get there. It's only 6:30, and I probably won't start to play till 7. So I got some fresh clothes that I had in the closet, and we got all duded up and everything like that, and head on over to the Fontainebleau. Got there, everybody was happy to see us, and we got some nice, they had like big bluefin tuna steaks and prime rib. Sat down with our meals, and then they called me up. And I sang, and it was a total knockout. Everybody loved it. So sometimes you have to go through tough times in order to reach a good conclusion. But in the end, you can sing. Glory to God, heavenly tuna, sing hosannas evermore. The sun's going down, but I'm going back to Gloucester Town. I'm going to show my tuna all around.